Ready.
Set.
Gamecast.
Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to Ready Set Gamecast, a bi-weekly podcast about video games and anime. I'm Bryce, and I'm joined by the Fooly Cooly Darian.
Yo!
And the One Punch Teddy Chinaris.
I wish I could do what Sayori. Nope, that's not the name. That's in Doki Doki. I wish I could do what the main character in One Punch Man does, because that's amazing.
What's his name, Teddy?
It's something like that. It's something similar to that. It's like One Punch.
Saitama.
Yeah, it's like Saitama or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Saitama.
I'm an anime expert. I
Yeah.
know these things.
I don't
Close
think
enough
you
to
are.
Sayori. Sure.
I disagree.
Darian.
That's racial profiling.
Darian, what is your favorite anime, and who is the best boy?
Black Butler and Sebastian Michaelis is best boy.
Wow, okay. I
Fight
didn't
me.
realize you're going to have such a definitive answer to the best boy.
Well, who's your best boy, Teddy?
It's
Saitama.
not. It's not an anime, but fucking Aang from The Last Airbender. He's a real good boy.
I don't know. There's some people feel like that's an anime, but
They're wrong.
It's the first American anime.
As somebody whose favorite TV
Dumb.
show of all time is Avatar: The Last Airbender, I don't call it an anime. It's just a cartoon.
I
with
thought
Japanese
only
influences.
Japanese cartoons could be anime. That's from when.
It is. People like to refer to it as an American anime. They are incorrect.
I think calling it if you specifically say an American, you know what I mean? That's like better.
Well, I mean, it's American animation, but
true.
anime has a Japanese context to it. It's originally a Japanese word. Anyway,
Hey Darian, what have you been playing?
I've been playing League of Legends as well as PUBG. I actually sat and played through Firewatch finally, and it was pretty good. The ending definitely left
Pretty
much
good.
to be desired. I played about 2 hours of the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy and was in love with it because the updated graphics are beautiful. As someone who put in a lot of hours into that game before they remade it, definitely was a fan. And just before this podcast started, I played about 45 minutes of Yume Nikki, which is like a 2004 RPG Maker game from, I think that it was a Japanese game maker who made it. I don't really know much about the game yet. I only played for 45 minutes and I have no idea what's going on, but I've read a little bit and heard a little bit, and apparently that's the norm. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen there.
Is it like Frog Fractions?
I don't know what that is.
Teddy, have you played Frog Fractions?
No, but I know what it is. I've heard of it.
Darian, you should play Frog Fractions. It's a browser-based game that it starts off weird and gets weirder. You just kind of... The problem with Frog Fractions is if you don't know that something's coming, you can easily bounce off it pretty quick. That's what happened. Like, everybody would be like, Frog Fractions is great. And I loaded it up and it was just like, okay, the fractions are multiplying. I don't... Cool.
They're like, why am I playing a game of fractions?
And
I
then
got out of elementary school to not do this.
yeah, and then like later, I got enough peek behind the curtain that people were like, "Oh, there's text-based stuff and all this stuff," and I was like, "Okay, I guess I just have to play to a certain point to get to the other things," and then I did that.
No, Yume Nikki is like a world exploration. Like, you're playing a girl. I can't remember how to pronounce her name. It's like Marotsuki
Yume
or
Nikki?
something like that. No, Yume Nikki translates to dream diary because you're playing this girl and the whole game takes place in her dreams. So you start off in her room. She's got like it's not spoilers at all. You start off in her bedroom and she's got like a game system and a porch, and you can go out onto her porch or you can play a game. on her system, and then you go to bed, and then once you're asleep you can go and do stuff in her dreams, and there's like 12 doors at the start, I think, and you can go into each one of those doors and explore the different world behind those doors, and some of those worlds will connect to other worlds, and you have to find things called effects, and it's all super weird. Like none of the rooms make sense. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up
like
having
what Bryce is doing right now doesn't make any sense.
Exactly, just like that. Please stop.
To audio listeners, Bryce put on a Boba Fett helmet and was nodding along and rubbing his chin like he was thinking, and Boba Fett became really civilized for a minute there.
I don't know. I think Boba Fett's always been civilized. He was a man of principle. He didn't just Yeah. He's a smart one. He's not like Bosk or anyone who
smart,
just goes around doing stuff. He's all clever. He's like, oh man, those Millennium Falcons.
Again, was he clever? He died in the Sarlacc pit. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe he went to the Sarlacc pit to take a nap for a little bit and then crawled out after the movie was over.
Well, then he definitely wouldn't be very smart because it would have eaten him by then.
I mean,
it would have died.
I mean, we don't know if Jabba the Hutt was even paying it. Like, it was like, man, job is done. I already got paid. Let me go take a nap.
Wow, you're saying it was purposeful. It was just all right. Wow, that's really
anyway,
a dark twist.
Teddy, what games have you been playing?
A good amount, and I'm sure there's some that I played that aren't on this list, but this is all I can think of / find through my Twitch past broadcast. I'm always casually playing Mario Kart 8 on the Switch because the Switch is great. And when I'm waiting on stuff, just hop into a race. It's good. I didn't put this on the list, but also Minecraft on the Switch is great, and I've been doing that too. That's a good just time killing.
I'm sorry, we can only go based on what's on the list, so knock that off.
Well, let me write it in there. No. What else? Played not too much since we last talked about it, but a little bit of The Division on PC, just a little bit more. Fortnite still, every now and then. I haven't played Fortnite that much in the last, week. I haven't played Fortnite since probably, Thursday, which is a while for me. It is Sunday. Been playing Overwatch more because I have friends that are just constantly pressuring me to play on PC, and I feel bad turning them down, but I don't, really want to play. but I've been doing it anyways. Honestly, I had a lot more fun last night than I did the other days, so I don't know. It just depends, I guess. I finished a Call of Duty World War II campaign, which is really good, by the way. Probably I don't know if I want to say my definitive second favorite, but probably my second favorite Call of Duty campaign. It's so good. It's really good. And I finally convinced Grunt Cooker to play Halo 5 with me, because I always want to play Halo 5 with him and whoever else would want to play, but he's busy a lot of times, and whenever he's on, he's like, oh, Overwatch, and I'm like, please, but I got him to play, and we played some Halo 5, and it was a lot of fun. And here's the last one that's very weird.
Hashtag Team Gruntco.
Hashtag so is everyone else. I've given up on Teddy Incorporated. The last one, which is weird, I've actually been playing a little game called Heroes of the Storm. Okay. I like MOBAs. I really do. There's nothing. I was saying this the other day. There's no feeling better than having a really, really long match that was super close, and you finally had the one fucking team fight to win it and get the last push, and you finally win. You know what I mean? There's no other feeling better than that in video games. There's some that are close, but that's such a good feeling, right? And I miss that, and I miss just the sheer competitiveness of MOBAs. When I used to play League a bunch, every now and then I just get on a kick for a month or a couple of weeks where I just really get into a competitive mood and I want to play something like that. And that happened again recently. And I just miss playing a MOBA a bunch. And I was like, you know what? The last time I played Heroes of the Storm, I really had fun. So let's try that again. And I got a couple of friends and we went in, and it's that game is really good. Here's one of the reasons why I like it a lot, is it accomplishes, like, the other day we had a game that lasted 22 minutes, and, like, it felt like a League of Legends game that goes for, like, 45, 50 minutes in 22 minutes of time. Like, they accomplished the scale of those type of matches and, like, how close it feels and how intense it feels, but in way less of time. So, like, most of the games, a long Here's the Storm match is like 30 minutes. Like that's like, you rarely ever get to 30 minutes. Whereas in most MOBAs, like a really close long game can go like an hour or longer in other MOBAs. Which is fine, but that's just not where I'm at in life. You know, I'm really busy, so I'd love to. I just want to play a MOBA that I can play relatively casually and learn about it, but not like dedicate my whole life to it, you know? So these have been really good because I've gotten on and been able to play like 4 matches in like an hour and a half, instead of 4 matches in 4 hours. So it's been fun. I don't know how much longer I'm going to play it, to be honest, because that mood might just fizzle out, but I've been having fun with it. Darian, don't kill me, okay? It's good. There's no CSing, which is nice. It's a nice, you don't have to stress about it. It's fun.
Okay.
That's why I don't like that game, though.
Sure. There's a lot of like reasons why people don't like it that I can totally see, but like I love the whole the only negative that me and my friend came up with the other day is like, because of the whole how it works with when you level up, like it's a team-based leveling, so like your whole team is like level 15, like you move that way, which is awesome and I really like it, but it makes it a lot harder for comebacks, because like if the other team is 3 levels above you and they're like kind of snowballing, it's really, really hard to catch up and to go back, and you have to do it completely as a team. Like you can't have one player that's like super strong because they got like fed early, or you know, just CS really well and got a bunch of items and they're like way stronger, because it's all like together, which there's something really awesome about that. Like if you as a team play really passively, get some camps and like move back, then it's really satisfying, but there's not like as many moments where like one player can do a bunch. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of differences to that game than most MOBAs that like are negative for some people, but I kind of like just because I'm playing pretty casually. So
Since, I mean, we talked about it a little bit on the Game of the Year episode, but I've been playing Hellblade, and I just finished it yesterday. I talked about it a little bit on Twitter right after finishing it, that the ending felt unsatisfying. Like it was, you go through a section and you feel really cool and powerful for a little bit, and then you do a battle, and then the ending kicks in, and it's this like 10-minute cutscene. And I was very confused on what was happening and what things meant, and like when the credits rolled, I was like, it wasn't a conclusive ending. It wasn't like. It was, I think, more of her coming to accept something she should have like accepted instead of changing something. She like it was an internal thing that she accepted, rather than her journey wasn't about making things better. It was about her like learning to accept things, and the ending was just kind of confusing and weird for me. But I went on Twitter and was like, I wasn't really satisfied with it. And my friend, I think her normal name is Sarah, but Cyru on Twitter. I asked her about it since I last brought her up, but I think it's Cyru. She said, and I'll quote, I don't think the point of the story was for it to be satisfying, but it means different things depending on who you are. I love that game, but I'll probably never try to watch that ending again. It messed me up. And I asked her what it meant to her, and she said, it's just a very intense and personal story about how scary and real mental illness is. Some folks have experienced a major breakdown that have experienced a major breakdown agreed that the atmosphere and themes really capture that feeling. And I'll admit, I have never experienced the breakdown. I've had things, but I don't suffer from anxiety or any sort of mental issues. So I didn't have that catharsis with the game. So I think if you do have those issues, that this story might very much appeal to you. But for me, it just kind of felt confused.
I gotta be honest, as somebody who plans on playing the game in the future, this is a little more than I would want to know about the ending. but it's okay. Sorry.
I was just, I mean, the endings it's confusing about that. So yeah, that was Hellblade, and then right after that, I started a little bit of. I mean, it's Va-11 Hall-A, cyberpunk,
Valhalla.
yeah,
Yeah.
bartender
I
action.
have a friend who's been playing a bunch of that as well on the Vita.
Yeah, I've been playing on PC. I just started a little bit. Very simple gameplay so far. You just kind of mix up the drinks, and if you mess up, you can just restart. There's no like time limit, at least at this point. I think the real thing that comes with that is that you can kind of decide how much alcohol they get.
You can get real drunk.
Yeah, so because they're like there'll be drink recipes and it'll be like the alcohol is optional. So you can be like, okay, I'll give them the alcohol or I won't. And then I'm guessing based on that things might play out differently. So I haven't really seen much. I got to the first save spot so I'm very, very early in. It seems like it's an interesting world. I think I've heard good things about the game. Personally, I would have liked if there was voice acting, but it's all text. I prefer for somebody else to do the reading than for me to do it. But yeah, we'll report more after I've gotten farther into that. So that brings us to the news. We have 9 news stories with a bunch of mini news stories within that. Starting us off, Teddy, can you tell me about the Nintendo Switch?
I can tell you that the Nintendo Switch has become the fastest selling console in U.S. history, according to Nintendo.
Yeah, and that
which is pretty insane.
That beats out the Wii, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the
I mean,
top
I feel
contender.
like with the title.
Well, yeah, I mean
yes,
that
it
was
beats
the
all of them.
the Wii was the former holder of that title.
Yeah,
and
the
then
record,
it was PS2 before that.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. It says, let's see here. Yeah, the home console that players can take wherever they go launched March 3rd, 2017. In 10 months, has sold more than 4.8 million units in the United States. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean they had the whole just shortage of Switches, so it'd be crazy to see what their numbers would be if they didn't.
Yeah, I am happy that is over, though, because for a long time I was really considering getting a Switch. I will say, when I got my Switch, it was the last one in the store, and that was in, like, October. So it was still happening for a while. It was around October that people were like, and we're starting to see them in stores again. And I was like, oh, maybe I should.
I felt like I was seeing them before that, and I feel like you probably bought your Switch right when people were starting to buy them for holiday gifts. So
it was October, and I was like, I can't let it be November when I try to get one, because then that's when they'll start going out of stock again.
Yeah, I honestly haven't heard reports of it going out of stock since initially.
Yeah, they've been good about it since then. But.
Yeah. But we have a lot of smaller Nintendo news, as they have recently done a Nintendo Direct Mini. So we've got The World Ends With You Remixed is coming to the Nintendo Switch. How do you feel about that, Darian?
I'm pretty stoked because I'm actually going to be able to play the game.
Pretty stoked.
Pretty stoked.
I remember...
It's pretty gnarly.
I think it was originally a DS game.
Yep, on the original Nintendo DS.
And I remember hearing good things about it when it was out, but I don't think I had a DS. at the time, and so I didn't get it. But it was included as a world in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance.
Yep.
And so that made me want to go play it more, but like it's an old game, you can't get it.
Yeah, the whole premise of that whole world was just like, what the hell? Like, this is so cool. Like, what are they talking about? What is going on? I wish I understood more, but I don't. Time to play this game now. Oh, I can't find it anywhere. Cool. Okay. Well.
It'll definitely be cool. I know I'll be picking it up when the remix comes out, and remix will add additional content to it, so that's cool.
Mm. Yeah, I think they said they're adding like a whole new character.
We've got Kirby Star Allies will be coming to Nintendo Switch. New Kirby game where you can play co-op, which is another thing that the Nintendo Switch does seem to be pushing is co-op. That like, if they can, they are including a co-op aspect in the Switch, because with the Joy-Cons, you can just hand the controller to a friend and hey, you got somebody playing with you. I mean, it looks like a Kirby game. I don't really know what to say beyond that. We've got another.
I didn't even watch the full direct, so like some of these games I didn't see stuff on, like that one I didn't see. I saw a lot of the other stuff by seeing videos and like images go around, but that one I didn't see anything about. But yeah, Kirby, he's got that suck action going on. You know what I'm saying?
Did you have something, Darian, or were you just?
Well, to add on to it, like they mentioned the Kirby Battle Royale game.
Yeah, that's for the DS. I think there's a demo for that.
So the original like 3DS game was released in like November of last year. So I think that they're doing a port for the Switch, which I mean, a Kirby Battle Royale game like we were talking about on the last one, like seeing Battle Royale stuff influencing
Kirby Battlegrounds.
Gaming.
It's not a battle royale.
It's not a battle.
It's called
it's not
Kirby
like
Battle
that.
Royale.
Yeah, it's Battlegrounds. I think it's
Battlegrounds, and it's not anything. We were joking about.
Yeah,
that's totally a joke. Yeah, it's not anything like that. 100 players drop down on Nintendo DS.
It is Kirby's versus Kirby's, but I think it's
same,
6 Kirby's.
It's definitely called Kirby Battle Royale.
Okay, we got to do some fact checking here.
I believe
like if
it.
you search Kirby Battle Royale, this
I
game on the
believe
Nintendo 3DS that came out on November 3rd, 2017, like I'm not making this up.
Kirby Battle Royale is coming. Yeah, you're right. Well, is there Kirby Battlegrounds? Is that also a thing?
Bryce, maybe
No.
we're just insane, but I remember it with
it's
you.
Battle Royale. It is.
Yeah,
Kirby
I don't know.
Battlegrounds is not.
Kirby
I don't know where we got
Battlegrounds is a weird PUBG skin. It looks
that's why I thought it was so funny, because I thought it was called Battlegrounds. I mean, Battle Royale is also basically.
Yeah, I also remember it being Battlegrounds. Weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know too much about that game.
Yeah,
honestly.
I just know I think it's Kirby's versus Kirby's. We also have another re-release of Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch.
That's only important because it's got all the DLC and stuff.
Which is what is the game that's
Dynasty Warriors.
Dynasty War? Yeah, it's a Dynasty Warriors type game with Link and all his friends in there.
I hear it's pretty fun, but it played really bad because it came out for. I'm pretty sure it came out for both versions of the 3DS, but like the new 3DS ran it like way better, and the old 3DS was like really low quality. And this one, I'm glad it's on the Switch. I've never played any of the Dynasty Warrior games though, so I don't know if I would enjoy it. From seeing gameplay, I think I'd probably like it, but I don't know for how long.
Looks like it was on the Wii U, and 3DS, and is now coming to the Switch.
Yeah. Or maybe it was one of those games that was original, that like was exclusive to the new 3DS, but I remember it running really bad on one of the versions of the 3DS. Maybe it was just the 3DS.
Can we talk about like they need to ditch the 3DS as soon as possible?
Yeah. I mean, please.
Mostly
now
because
with
of
the
the
Switch,
naming
yes.
situation. I saw someone on a rummage sale site going like, oh, I have to sell this game because it's for the new 3DS model and we just have the normal 3. And I'm like, oh, of course
Wait,
you would make
what?
that mistake. like how do they expect people
It's a terrible name. I remember when they came out and were like, this is the new Nintendo 3DS. And we're like, yes, but what's it called? And they're like, oh, it's called that. So it's the new Nintendo 3DS. We're like,
I didn't know they were releasing games exclusively for
Yeah.
the new 3DS.
they did, but it wasn't that many. There's not that many that exist. It's only a couple.
I mean that's
Because most of the games are released just for like the just 3DS model. Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything for new 3DS.
yeah, there's a few.
Yeah, they did a few. I'm curious. I think one of them was a Xenoblade game, but other than that, that's all I got.
So weird.
We have a new Mario Tennis game coming.
I'm stoked about this because
This
I
is
like
gonna be
really
awesome.
stupid little like sports, like arcadey sports games. I love Mario Golf. Everybody's golf. What's the other one? Golf Story. So like a tennis game, but Mario Tennis, and it's apparently there's like a story mode, and that
It's
looks
got
pretty
a
cool.
story
I'm excited
mode.
about it. I'm gonna play it.
I'm excited for that one because it's gonna bring more of the motion controls for the Joy-Cons again.
I would rather not, but
No, I'm excited for that.
You know what
Let's
else
go.
Mario Tennis
Please
Aces
don't.
features? Some sick Waluigi hair.
no, it's really bad. It's really bad. His like clothes looked okay, but then his hair is like his hair's a completely different color than his facial hair too. Like his facial hair was black, and then his hair's like brown. I'm like, wait, what? I mean, he could have dyed it, but still.
I like that Nintendo seems to be like playing with like doing new hairstyles for the like side characters. They're not gonna mess with Mario or anybody, but like
No,
Uh,
you can't
it-
mess with Mario.
in Mario Odyssey, what's his face? Bowser had like fancy ass hair. It looks so
Fancy
cool.
ass hair.
Yeah, and then like Waluigi's hair in this.
Well, Waluigi's hair in Mario Party 10 was different too. He's got like a sand blonde colored hair, but a black mustache.
That guy always mixing it up. You never know what you're gonna get with
Mixing it up, dude.
Waluigi.
Wasn't he a hobo?
No?
Maybe on fanfiction.net. I don't know.
I remember hearing a story about how Wario didn't have a partner for the original Mario Tennis game, so he hired Waluigi, or maybe this is a story me and my friends
I think this
made
is
up,
a
but
story.
He picked
Put it
Waluigi
in a
up,
movie.
who was a hobo, and he became a part of the team. He just came out of nowhere. He's a hobo, and now he's Wario's
I
best
mean,
friend.
if you're gonna attribute anyone in the Mario universe to being a hobo, I think Waluigi is a very safe bet. So that's okay. I'm all right with
It's
this.
fine.
That's the thing with Waluigi.
Waluigi's a
Like
hobo.
he doesn't have any defining characteristics. Like
I would argue with that.
Super tall, skinny, weird.
Super tall, skinny, purple. Like,
okay, yeah,
got
but what's his
Waluigi.
personality?
Rose.
What's Mario's personality? What's Luigi's personality?
Wario, you know, is greedy. The Mario is the hero. He's like whatever. Luigi's scared. You know, he's got the.
I feel like
Waluigi is-
Waluigi's
he's sly.
personality is just fucking creep.
Suave. He's not a creep. Nah, he's suave.
Darian went with suave and smooth, and I went with creepy as hell.
We know
He is a hobo.
different tastes. So
yeah, and hobo.
So hold on.
Hobo's the word.
You associate hobo with suave?
No.
Okay, speaking of Luigi, there is a new update, a free update coming to Mario Odyssey called Luigi's Balloon World.
Yeah, woo.
So basically you'll be able to find Luigi in the worlds and be able to get a balloon from him, and I think you have 60 seconds to hide the balloon anywhere in the world, and then other players can come and try and find your balloon in the same amount of time. It adds another competitive mode to Mario Odyssey. There's some small ones like the RC car and the jumping and all that.
Those are all leaderboard based. Is this basically?
Yeah, it's basically
leaderboard-based? Okay, that's
leaderboard
what I
based. You know, I think it's based. You know, how well you do is based on how many people were able to find your balloon.
Alright.
stuff.
It's pretty neat. It's free.
Yeah,
Check
I
it
guess.
out.
I mean, it doesn't appeal to me, but I know certain people like Jace Plays Games was like super excited about it. So
Well, Jace, just so people have context, is a person that has like the leaderboard high for all his friends. Like if somebody beats him, he's just like, well, this is what I'm doing now, and then he just like beats it in a couple of days or a day. He has like all the jump rope high score and all that. Like he's a crazy person.
yeah, I never got into those. I just did the minimum to get the moon.
And kept on running.
Yeah,
Kept on jumping, you know?
So speaking of free DLC, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle is getting the addition of DK to the game. So Donkey Kong is gonna hang out with Rabbids. It's gonna be a good time for everybody.
Was it just Donkey Kong? I thought there were more. I thought I saw something about Yoshi. as well.
Yoshi's already in it.
Is he already in it? Okay.
Pretty
I mean,
sure.
I've never played the game. That's why I'm
I'm
asking.
pretty sure Yoshi's in it from the get-go, but it's adding DK, who isn't
Cool.
technically a Mario or a Kingdom, Mushroom Kingdom citizen. He's got his own little jungle thing, so.
That's true. Do they exist in the same universe?
Yeah.
The Mushroom Kingdom and Donkey Kong Jungle?
Yeah,
Or whatever?
imagine there's like a different country in the same
Sure.
world. So you gotta take a boat
A
to
Donkey
get over
Kong country.
there. Yeah, totally. So I just wanted to use this as a jumping off point that today I saw a really cool video, which if I can pull up my Discord, I can tell you where it's from. But it basically showed how David Soliani got Mario and Rabbids Kingdoms Battle made, and how he is just like such a big fan of Nintendo, and like when he was young, he found out that Shigeru Miyamoto was coming to his country, so he called every hotel pretending to be his translator to figure out which hotel he was at, and then just hung out there so that he could get a picture with him and just talk to him for a little bit. So
Wow.
Yeah.
What was Miyamoto like creeped out? Or was
no,
he
he
just
just
like,
didn't-
it's fine.
yeah, from the YouTube video, it's just like, oh, that was just like a small moment for him, and the picture seemed cool. Like there was like 10 of them who all ended up going there. It wasn't just him.
Oh, okay.
But then he's working at Ubisoft, and this is years later, found out that, hey, we're gonna do a project that, if it turns out well enough, might have some Nintendo involvement, and he was given 3 weeks before he had to meet with Nintendo, and he just managed to get a very short playable demo ready to go, and that like impressed them enough to go on to another meeting, which was 3 months later, and they made an entire world for them to play through, and just like his passion about the project impressed Nintendo so much that they went ahead and if you don't know, if you've seen the E3 press conference where it got announced, he was the guy who was crying because he was just so excited and just happy to have made this happen, and he worked his butt off to get the game made. Like he went to the doctor at one point because he thought he was having a heart attack because he was just like working every possible moment, and
Jeez.
and then they were like, no, you're fine, but you need to get some sleep. Like you need to stop working this hard. And once he found out that he wasn't actually dying, he just went back to the office to work more.
Jeez, goodness. And also, you said, how quick was it for the first demo? Like,
Yeah. Well, so what actually like happened was he was pulled off and been like, hey, start working on this, and they didn't have any programmers to work on the game, so he just kind of made a board game version. And then
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I still though, how long? Like, what was the duration you said? What
Well,
was it?
When they actually hired a programmer, they had 3 weeks to make the actual.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. In 3 weeks, like they made like a little prototype. The point with that is that he obviously had the idea of Mario and XCOM type thing for a while. He's probably been thinking about that, and like if he ever gets the opportunity, this is what he's gonna do for a long time. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and people he did kind of a board game version because he did not have any programmers on his team yet. And they kind of simplified stuff because people didn't like that the wide range of probability of hitting, so they simplified it to the like 0, 50%, 100% shot. And then they also increased the movement stuff with like the team jumps and all of that. Because they were saying that it was too much like XCOM, so they added in more movement options. But that whole video is on Eurogamer, so if you want to see like a really cool story about how that game came to be, how Nintendo approved of that game, it's a really cool video. Next up, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
You want to know my history on that game? I bought it on sale on the Wii U, I think for like $5 or something like super cheap. And I played the first level and I was like, this is pretty cool. And then I never went back. But I always hear about how it's like super good and really underrated. A lot of people are glad that it's coming over. And if it's like not $60, if it's like $40 or something, then I will definitely buy it. Even if it is 60, maybe if I got the money, I don't know. If I'm not playing much around that time, who knows? But I'll definitely give it a shot at one point for sure because it's I don't have, right now on the Switch, I don't really have any like 2D platformers. I got Mario Odyssey, but don't really have anything 2D.
And one last game coming to the Nintendo Switch port is Dark Souls Remastered, which very surprising, but
very weird. I was like, okay, all right.
I guess everybody's like, bring all the games to the Switch, and they're bringing every game to the Switch.
Well, yeah, like they were like, all right, put Skyrim on it. We can put literally anything on here then. We're good. Like, it opened the floodgates, I feel, because Payday 2 is coming too, which is going to be super weird.
I feel like Dark Souls, like, you'll want the Pro Controller for that, because I'm not sure I'd want to play without the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, that would definitely be better.
But yeah, Dark Souls is an older game at this point, so it might run fine on the Switch.
That's one of the things a lot of people are like, man, if they can put Skyrim, like everyone forgets Skyrim is pretty old at this point. Like it's not like it used to be, the like what you would test your PC with and stuff like that. But it's a bit old, and it was like last generation. So I don't know. It's a little different putting Skyrim on there than like putting The Witcher 3.
I mean, I guess it's only like 6 years old though.
Yeah, 6 years is pretty old in tech.
That's not,
especially consoles.
Yeah.
The Switch is supposed to be way further along than a PS3 or a 360. So I wasn't that impressed. But I'm glad that it's there. I'm glad that they could. I think that a lot of other people are doing it because there's a lot of stories coming out how like what was it? I saw somebody tweet about it this week. Oh, Super Meat Boy tweeted out that their launch on the Switch was almost met the original launch on 360, which is like insane. Because that game sold super well when it first came out. So yeah, a lot of people are just putting their games on Switch and seeing like it's a really good attach rate. Like people are buying it. So they're like, can we do this right now while people are buying games?
So that's all the news out of the Nintendo Direct Mini. Now Bryce gets to talk about some news that he's excited for a minute.
I will say, you guys saw that a Direct was coming, and if you're like me, I was like, oh shit, could be Virtual Console, could be Smash Bros, let's fucking go. And then there were like mini Direct and all that, and I was like, I read all of it, and I was kind of like, okay, I mean, Mario Tennis is pretty cool. I'll play Tropical Freeze probably, and that's like it. So were you guys disappointed in the Direct, or were you not really expecting anything?
I didn't really know it was coming until it came, and then I was like, oh, cool.
Yep,
Yeah, see,
I'm the same
I knew
way.
it was coming. I saw a tweet that literally said something about, like, I think it was Nintendo's tweet that said, be on the lookout for old and new games, ... And I was like, if that's not Virtual Console, I don't know what is. And then it wasn't. Which is fine. It's okay. I'll get over it. But,
The next one. They'll
Yeah, I don't
get you
know.
next time, Teddy.
yeah, maybe. I just want Smash Bros. I want Smash Bros. Really bad.
They'll get you after the N64 Classic has come out and the GameCube Classic has come out. Then you can have a Virtual Console.
It hurts.
Okay, time for some Bryce news. HTC has announced the Vive Pro with an upgraded resolution and audio, upgraded resolution, audio, and a second camera. So the Vive Pro will have 78% increase of resolution over the current Vive, which I feel like is going to get rid of the screen door effect, which is prevalent in I think every VR headset, where if you're looking at something that's kind of in the distance, it looks like you're looking through a screen door. It's got kind of like you can see individual pixels and stuff, but if the resolution is increased that much, I feel like that you won't have that effect as much. So that's super cool. It's got a better format, better feel to how it sits on your head. The original Vive just kind of had like a strap that went over your head, and then later they added the deluxe audio strap, which felt way better. That was $100 extra. I ended up getting that, and it feels way more comfortable. It also adds built-in headphones. So I don't know if this is going to feel even better than the deluxe audio strap, or it's just going to feel like the deluxe audio strap. But they're including that in their base model for the Pro. And it also does feature the normal Vive headset just has one camera in the front, whereas this is going to feature two, which apparently opens them up to augmented reality possibilities. So we'll see what that comes of that. I don't really care about that, but I mean, it does seem like augmented reality. A lot of people seem to be talking more about that than virtual reality.
Yeah,
lately.
man. Augmented reality, dog. I remember when I got my PS Vita. They gave you 6 little cards, and you placed them down. There was this one game that you, like, did. I don't even remember. You did, like, some sort of dive. There was one with, like, fireworks, and you pointed, and there were fireworks on your bed. Fucking revolutionary, man. PlayStation Vita.
I think Nintendo...
The 3DS did that too.
Yeah, the DS did that too.
I know.
Because when
know.
Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance came out, it came with little cards that you could do, and I was
Yeah.
more excited about that than like
I
anything
did the little cards,
base.
and then I immediately was like, after doing like 1 or 2 games, I was like, I'll just put these in the drawer. And then at a certain point, I was cleaning out the drawer, and I was like, just gonna throw these away. Never used them ever again.
Okay. And
Well, I mean,
then,
they were thrown away, so I couldn't use them, but still.
So this is going to be the Pro version. The normal Vive will still be available. So this is going to be the hobby, the like people who for people who are more serious about virtual reality, and for businesses, like there are businesses where you can, like arcades where you can go in and do VR. So they haven't announced the price. People are guessing around $1,000 for this. To be clear, the Vive originally launched at $800, so that's a $200 jump from the original price. Whereas I think now the Vive's sitting around either $400 or $600. I'd have to look it up. So along with that, HTC announced a Vive adapter, making it wireless, and I think this is huge because there's a third-party one that you can get. But I think a lot of people have a problem with the fact that they have to do cord management and deal with plugging it in and all that every time they want to use VR. But if it's completely wireless, you just get to put on the headset and it works. I mean, they are fixing the big problems with VR with these two announcements. Getting rid of the screen door effect and making it wireless. So this could bring in, like, get a lot more people into virtual reality with these changes.
I hope it really works. I don't know, I'm not a super into tech guy, but like from my basic understanding of technology in general, like wireless overall is like nowhere close to wired when it comes to like consistent performance, right? So like
That's true.
I feel like there could be a lot of drops and latency. Like I don't know, I hope it works. But whenever I hear people be like, oh man, next PlayStation VR, just get rid of all the cords, I'm like, can we do that yet? I don't think we can do that. Like I don't think that exists.
Yeah. I mean, that's been a problem that people have talked about. Like, if you have any sort of lag with VR, you will get nauseous very sick or very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So it's got to be like consistent. I mean, I don't know.
And that there have been third-party wireless adapters, which I've heard good things about. But
Okay,
the fact that this is an official one made by the people who make the headset makes
Yeah.
me feel confident in this.
Yeah, this is like the first real, test, so we'll see how this one does.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to wait. I think they're going to put out the Pro, just the headset itself, and then later they're going to put out a package deal which will include the Pro with some new sensors which are supposed to have a larger range, and I'm guessing the new controllers. We've known that they've been testing out some new controllers for the Vive which are supposed to fit your hands better and just be easier to use. So I'm going to wait for a package deal with all of that before I upgrade.
Now, Bryce came to my stream when he first found this article and said, when I get an HTC Vive Pro, you can have my old one.
Aw,
He
snap.
said that.
Oh,
It's in
frick!
the
She's
stream.
got a recording now. Now I have to actually do
that
it.
was the goal, getting it on record here.
So, if
Anyway,
anyone's wondering,
next
Darian's
news
going to
story.
join the VR world.
Bryce is trying to dodge so hard.
Teddy, tell me about PUBG.
I
Tell us about your favorite game, Teddy.
Yeah, dude. I hear that the developer is now publishing the loot box drop rates. That's what I hear about PUBG. And the other thing I hear
it's
about
crazy,
it, I don't know as
though,
much.
'cause, like-
but the drop rates, that's really good news.
They're crazy, though. Like, the rare, like, goggles and, like, a jacket and, like, just insanely high drop rates. There's, like, one out of every, like, 10,000 loot crates.
Yeah.
Like, holy God.
I feel like showing it as well, because that PUBG is one of those games that you can like sell stuff on the marketplace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like publishing that is going to make it publishing the information. Yeah, it's going to make the prices go up because people are going to know
skyrocket.
what exactly it's worth, you know?
But I do feel like hopefully the reason I included this is because I'm hoping this is a trend in the loot crate conversation. Is
Honestly,
let
I
people
think
know
it's going to be. Like when I read
It
this news
definitely
story
is.
or when I saw it, I was just kind of like good, for one of the first, like, I feel like that's going to keep coming because you already have to do it in some countries.
Yep.
Yeah, I would love that. Like, if you're looking on the like it shows you all the equipment, and then it shows you like next to it your chance of getting it would be the ideal way. Like, I feel like that'll nip
man.
the loot crates conversation in the bud a little bit of showing you the
Definitely
chances.
a little bit.
But Darian, we have some other PUBG news. Can you tell me about that?
Well, the developers issued a BP apology for like a bad they released BP for the launch. There was a bunch of stuff that was lost. People weren't getting their payouts from games and stuff. And the players, what
What is BP?
battle points?
It's the currency.
What is
is
the
it?
currency in the game?
Real talk, I thought we were making a joke of the BP oil spill back in the day where they were like,
no.
I mean, there's a whole South Park episode about it where they're like, I'm sorry. It was a whole joke of how they apologized. So that's why I was like, Is that just a clever headline?
Yeah, I figured we would clarify for the people
Okay,
who
okay.
don't know.
So they gave everyone a bunch of BP because like there was a bunch of issues on the 1.0 launch and people weren't being given like their payouts from squad games or like regular games, just like it wasn't all working properly in the system because they kind of rushed to the release. And so players got a bunch of BP when they logged in after a patch a few days ago. But a lot of people weren't satisfied with that because we've been having a lot of issues with Chinese users cheating. So they got their VP and now there's an outrage like, hey, do a region lock because a lot of Chinese players are cheating consistently. Which I'm hoping that we get a response to, honestly, because I've literally never seen an English user's name in something that was obviously cheating. Like I've been in quite a few games where there's obvious cheating, like someone's like 700 meters away, you can see them as a blip in the background and they get a headshot on you with like an M416 or something ridiculous like that. And it's like, how did they see me? How did I die here? So I'm kind of excited to see if they're actually going to do that or not, because that would be pretty good. I think a region lock is important in some of these types of games because like otherwise people will take advantage of the systems.
Yeah, the kill cam definitely helps show off when people are cheating. I've heard that like there was somebody, I guess, like looking through a wall and just kind of like their gun was just following the people and they were very, very far away because that was the hack that like the gun was just tracking them through a wall and took them out because and they could see that on the kill cam. So.
Right.
Jeez.
Well, and there's also in the most recent patch, when you report someone for cheating, it gives you options now. And one of them is like gun snapped to a headshot. And one of them is like the player was moving faster than what is allowed. And there's two other ones, but like those are the two most prominent, like speed hacks and obviously aimbots. Like they're ridiculously obvious with the game cams now, or with the death cams now, which is awesome because like I can be like, how the fuck did I die there? And like sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, I can see that this player is actually better than me. But a lot of the times it's like, no, this fucker's cheating. Like what the hell? Like, he wasn't even looking in my direction and he just snapped and gave me a headshot. Like what the hell? Like there's no hiding that. So and again, most of the times I've noticed that the names are either like random numbers or like something that's clearly not English. Like it's very irritating. So I hope that they have a positive response to that because I feel like that would help the community immensely.
So have they done any sort of response yet to this kind of big, other than just the apology? Like, are they going to do, like...
Well, yeah, I don't think they've addressed... I mean...
The actual...
they put in the death cam so people can know if people are cheating, and obviously they're saying report cheaters. But if it's such a prevalent issue, like, you can't rely on them keeping up. And because of what PUBG is, any sort of cheating just sours your taste on that game. Because if you spent... like 20 minutes looking for stuff and just got taken out by a cheater, you're just like, I don't want to play anymore if this is going to be a thing.
Yeah. Just in comparison, things that are going on over in the Fortnite world. The other day, I think it was like yesterday, 2 days ago, I saw a couple of people tweeting out videos of like, what's up with this? And it was like, videos of them dying, and then when you die in Fortnite, it goes over to the player who killed you in the spectate. If you were on solo or if like your whole squad's dead, it goes over to them, and there were videos of person dying. It's showing who killed them, and they were just running under the world, where you can still see like the top and see people and shoot them, but they were just running under the world, and it was like, okay. And then I saw later that day, the Fortnite devs were like, hey, we're going to be putting out a patch soon that fixes that. We're like, all right, get on them, man. But yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I wonder if that's just like a glitch
sounds
that
like a
allowed them to
glitch,
get under
yeah.
there, or if they were.
It's a glitch.
Okay.
And they are fixing it. I don't know if it's already fixed or not, but they said that they have a fix going out for it. So
Okay, yeah, that's one thing. I mean, I think the PUBG players are installing like extra stuff to cheat, whereas that might have just been a glitch that allowed them to get under the world.
yeah.
Darian, we got some pretty bad news. If you want to talk about that.
I don't think it's bad news.
I mean, it's
the news behind it is very unfortunate.
Good and bad,
so,
yeah.
Okay, so the suspect in fatal Call of Duty swatting incident has been charged with manslaughter. Now, obviously, the incident itself, swatting is no joke, and this is why, like, people can get hurt. An innocent man died.
Okay, can you give us the full story of what the swatting incident is?
The swatting incident was a Call of Duty player raged and got the address of someone they were playing against, and they called in. Was it a fake kidnapping?
I believe so. And the
situation.
The other player gave them an address that was near him, but not his actual address. So yeah, the police showed up to a complete stranger's house, completely unrelated to these two people, and yeah, it was reported that there was a kidnapping, that the guy was holding several people hostage, and I believe he was following exactly what they said, and he like reached his hands to his hips, I guess, and they thought he was going for a gun.
I think it was like to pull up his pants.
Oh yeah, that might have been it, and they shot him in his doorway. Like he answered the door for the cops, and he was following orders and got killed because of these two Call of Duty players who were thought swatting was a prank and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, so that's
swatting
the incident.
Is fucking idiotic. Don't even think about doing it. When this happened, there was a bunch of stuff going around on like big streamers that were like, hey, if you have any sort of audience and think that this could ever happen to you, go to your police station, explain it in like 30 seconds, give them a photo, and be like, hey, this might happen if you get a call from my house. Like, just know that it's about this. So,
right.
So
try to be safe about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, I live in a fairly small town. I don't think we.
I mean, that's the thing. You would have to try to explain it to them, and the police would be like, "Oh, what? What's this?"
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if like they would even have the ability. But then I remembered that like they bought a tank recently. It was like, this town doesn't need a tank, but like I think it was an armored vehicle. It wasn't an actual tank, but it was like there is no reason you should ever have to use that.
Yeah. What?
But
wait.
They got it.
So. It's a police station. Your police station has a tank?
An army-style vehicle that I guess is for SWAT, for things that they would like need for SWAT, but it's like...
Interesting.
We are way too small for you to ever have to use a armored vehicle.
Yeah, that's weird.
You never know, man.
Well,
no.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, even a small place, like the cops are armed to the teeth these days, like... Yeah.
I mean, times are changing.
So anyway,
I don't know. But it's no joke. Like, if you're any kind of prominent on the internet, like, you need to protect yourself, because I had been streaming for like a little over a year, and I was making a business transaction with someone, and things didn't work out the way they were supposed to. And so that person took the personal information that I gave them, found my address, and leaked it to the internet. And I literally had to move. Like, I was in the process of like, hey, I'm gonna, re-up my lease and stay here another year, but I couldn't because a bunch of people had my address, and people would come into my chat and be like, hey, this is your address, right? And they'd post my address, and I'd be like, okay, well, that's not cool. Okay, Jesus. Cool. So I had to move rather abruptly because
damn, I didn't know that. That's
shit
crazy.
went south. So yeah, it was not a fun experience. So taking precautions as a streamer and as a content creator and stuff is something that's really important as well. So yeah, it wasn't it's no joke, and it's very scary.
Yeah. These guys weren't streamers, I don't think. They were just like
No, I think they were just regular gamers.
yeah,
but
two
like,
Call of Duty players that was it over a $10 bet or something. It was over a very small bet, and yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, protect yourself, protect your address and stuff as much as you can. Don't give it out to anybody that you don't completely trust and stuff, because people are bad on the internet.
People are bad in general.
Yeah,
right.
but yeah. But at least this guy who called in the kidnapping that lied about that
right.
is getting his comeuppance.
Right,
Yeah.
I think it sets an example for people who think, "Oh, I'm going to do this as a joke." Like, no, it's not funny. There's no joke. Like, I think it's going to help going forward prevent people from making that decision, hopefully. Because there is some severe consequences if something happens. Like, I think making an example of someone who literally got someone killed over something ridiculous, like, I think is kind of something that's needed.
They found him, and he's being charged with manslaughter and could face up to 3 years. I hope he gets way more than that, because his actions resulted in someone dying for no good reason.
Mm-hmm.
He had nothing to do with any of this. He's just happened to be at the address that this other guy randomly picked.
Right.
So, yeah, that's really sucks. To end on some happier news, Awesome Games Done Quick set a record again for money earned for a charity. They got over 2.2 million for the Prevent Cancer Foundation.
Ooh.
2.2 million. That's a lot of money going to good research.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
no joke.
Let's see. Does it say in here what the previous record was?
Last year's total, it beat it by about 40,000. I don't know if they
nice.
have a number in this one.
Yeah, topping last year's total by 40,000, and it's got the last year's total, but that's a really long number. You want to read that, Teddy?
Let's see. No, that's this year's. The
Yeah, that's this year's number.
2,263,000.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's this year's. Yeah.
Okay, I don't.
Beating last year's total by 40,000.
So
That's how that
just do the math.
sentence ends.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of speedrunning, but there was a few really cool ones. There was a guy doing original Punch Out and Super Punch Out at the same time with the same controller. Like they rigged it up so he was using
People
a
are
Super
crazy.
NES controller to play both of the games at the same time. Basically, he had it like timed out so that while like he had just knocked one guy out in Punch Out for NES, and then the match started on the SNES match, so he kind of juggled them pretty well. At one point, there was one point where he did have to fight two on both games at the same time, which was pretty cool. But yeah, like they do some really interesting speedrunning, not just straight up like stuff, but it's very cool.
I really wanted to watch the Breath of the Wild one. I wanted to see how they did that, but I didn't get to, sadly.
Cool story, Teddy.
I'm just saying. I was figuring maybe you watched it and you could tell me how it was.
I didn't. I only popped in if somebody on Twitter was like, something really cool is happening, and I'm like, okay.
I saw a tweet that was saying they were about to do the Breath of the Wild one, but then that they were finishing up one. I watched for like 5 minutes, and then I was like, oh, they're not getting there. And then I had to do something.
So yeah, that's cool. They do Awesome Games Done Quick, which is their winter one, and then Summer Games Done Quick, which is their summer. So they do this twice a year and do speed runs of games to raise money for charity. So it's
That's such a weird naming convention, now that I'm thinking about it. One is summer, and the other one's not winter. It's just awesome. Okay. All right. Maybe they
That's
just
because-
really prefer winter. You know.
That's because everybody suffers from like seasonal depression in the winter, and so instead of like reminding you like, hey, it's wintertime, it sucks, they're like, hey, it's awesome.
the winter.
Well, I think Awesome Games Done Quick is down south where it's probably more warm. I'm not sure where it's done, but I know that Summer Games Done Quick is in Minnesota.
Oh, well, nice.
So I could go to that. I won't because I don't actually care about speedruns, but
But
it's not that far away.
You could if you wanted
to. So that is all the news for this week. Let's get into the topic of the show.
I wasn't prepared for this as well as I could be.
Come on, Teddy, do your homework. Double check your list. Naughty or nice.
Check your math.
Yeah.
Oh, did you just
check for the solution?
Is Teddy Santa?
Anyway.
Did you just declare Teddy as Santa Claus?
We've never been seen in the same room at the same time. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
So you can't say I'm not Santa.
That's because Santa's not.
Anyway, topic of this show. With the rise of the Overwatch League, do you think esports will break into the mainstream? If not, what circumstances do you think it will take, and what game is best suited to break through the barrier?
All right. So first of all, I don't really like part of this sentence, part of this topic of the show. What do you think we'll see esports break into the mainstream? I just don't. We'll talk about it, but I don't like talking about esports in that way because I hate to feel like you have to legitimize something that is already legitimized. Like we shouldn't need to feel like we have to prove something with esports, man. Like the people watch. There was a stat I saw years ago that was like, I think it was like 2014, and that is years ago, and it's only grown. That like the LCS World Championship was watched by more people than the last game of the Major League Baseball World Series. Like it was watched by more people. Like I mean,
baseball.
Come on. Like we're baseball is like one of the, I think the third most popular sport in America.
Baseball's boring. No.
Whoa.
Well,
all right.
That's not necessarily what we're talking about, but but yeah. So I just feel like it's kind of weird that we feel like we have to legitimize stuff when like it's very clearly already like esports is doing good work. Specifically, the Overwatch League is doing some good, really professional stuff. But the way you explained it earlier is like, when you mean breaking into the mainstream, you mean like people know about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like people know about the NFL type thing.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I tried to mention the Overwatch League to somebody at work, and they're like, "Oh, what is that?" And then I had to literally explain esports to them like they had never heard of it. And that's, I don't know. It's like esports get the same, if not more numbers than a lot of professional sports. But when it comes to people knowing about it, like a lot of regular people aren't going to specifically know about it. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
And also respecting it, because it has appeared on ESPN. It's talked about in places that normal sports are talked about. And every time it is, the sports fans are like, why are people sitting at their computer like losers in the basement being talked about?
That's because they're sports fans. Like I don't know, like I told a regular person about this who doesn't even play that many video games, and he like watches NFL and all that, and he was like, oh, that's pretty cool, like that's pretty cool to see, that's something different, that's interesting. But like people that open ESPN expecting to see like a physical sport, and they just see this, and they're probably, this is not what they were looking for, you know? But yeah, I think over time, if it continues to get bigger, which it only, like, esports only continues to get bigger every year, I think just over time, slowly more and more people will start to realize. I mean, video games still are not as stigmatized as they're like as mainstream as they've ever been, right? And there are still people that are like, oh, you play video games? Those for babies. Like, come on, man, we're like 30 years into this industry or whatever. Like, I mean, we've done this for a while. Like, video games, the target market is like age 20 to like 35 or whatever. Like, it's different. It's, I don't know. I think it just takes time.
So do you think the Overwatch League I mean, will help legitimize it. More people will come to know it. I mean, it does have backing from sports organization, like companies who own or people who own sports teams have got their Overwatch teams now. A lot of those teams are owned by the same people.
That's happened before with other esports. It's more of the case in Overwatch League because there's like more teams that have that. But it's not like totally new. But I think the Overwatch League does a really good job of presenting the game to like. So me and let's take a trip down memory lane to last week. Me and Grunt and my friend Eric and I think Andrew and Squeegee, like we had a group of like 8 people or something watching the Dallas Fuel game, the first Dallas Fuel game, and we had one person in there that doesn't even play Overwatch, and he was just for the audio listeners, Bryce has the Boba Fett helmet back on, he's just chillaxing. But we were watching, and Friday, he doesn't even play Overwatch, and he was watching, and he had a couple of questions, but he was totally able to follow what was going on. Like, when people won, and, like, when they got a good push, he, even, like, before us, sometimes we're like, oh, that was pretty good. Like, it's very clear. The Overwatch League does a great job with presenting the two teams, because they both have their own jerseys, basically. Like, you know, in sports, people wear jerseys to show that they're on the team. Whereas in a lot of esports, it's just like regular skins. Like, they don't really do that. But Overwatch is the first one really to give like each character has a team home skin and away skin that like, so Dallas Fuel is all in blue skins that all look like, you know, you can tell that that's Dallas. And if they're playing against LA Gladiators, they're all in purple. So, like, you can very clearly see. And every bit of the UI for the Dallas players is also blue. And all, like, in the bottom right, if you're spectating a Dallas player, you're blue. Like, the little fire on the left on your portrait is blue, which, you know, normally the fire is blue. So let's say if you're the Gladiators, the fire would be purple. But yeah, so it does a really good job of explaining what's happening. Like, you can watch it and not be super familiar with the game. It's still pretty hard because, you know, Overwatch, there's a lot going on, but it does a good job of presenting it. I think that it will help in the long run because it just adds another esport that's big that people are talking about. I haven't really seen marketing for an esports league like the Overwatch League has done probably ever. I mean, before it came out for like a couple of months, I kept seeing stuff being like Overwatch League January 13th or whatever, like it's coming out, be ready. And I just kept seeing stuff about it. And by the time it was coming out, I was like, all right, like I'll watch some of this. And the regional format where the teams are like basically, you know, based in certain cities, but they're not really. I've read some articles recently. There was a quote by one of the leads of like the Blizzard esports, basically saying like, we want in the future it to be totally as common as like going out to a baseball game with your family as like going to an Overwatch game. So I think in the future they see a long run where they can like set up little mini arenas in the cities. So like they can actually have the teams travel and it can be more like a regular season. The format of the season is pretty regular to like an NFL thing where it like goes for a couple of months and then there's like a final championship and all this. It's as close to the format of traditional sports as any esports has been. And I think that does wonders for viewership. Like the traditional sports model works, you know, it's like I had a friend that was really getting into it who, you know, he's one of those kids that's like, oh, sports ball. Oh, you're watching that sports ball. But he doesn't watch regular sports, but he's been really into this. And I'm like, dude, you're like, this is sports. Like, you know that, right? You've been bagging on it for this many years, but you're getting into it just like we do. Like his team lost and he's like all night. He's like, I can't believe we lost that. And I'm like, welcome, welcome in. Like it's sports culture. It's totally, they're nailing it. So long story short, yes, I think eventually they'll be into the mainstream and all that. And I think more people will know about it, but I just think it takes a lot of time. Like, it'll just be years and years, and then eventually people will be like, oh, yeah, I heard of that, you know?
Yeah. I think if they expand more, if they, like, we were talking about I wouldn't mind having a team to root for, and that would probably be location based because
Yeah.
I don't really know these players. I don't know whatever. So having something near me that I'd be like, oh, that I'm representing my area by rooting for this team.
Yeah,
So
the location-based thing works wonders. Like, just for example, I was playing Here's the Storm recently, and I was, like, wondering if they have an esports season type thing like Overwatch does. So I looked into it, and they do. It's called, like, HGC, like, Here's the Storm Global Championship, I think. And they do, and it's kind of similarly formatted, except for the region-based thing. But, like, for example, when I saw the Overwatch League and all that, and I saw all the teams, and it's, like, super clean, and I was like, what is, like, closest to Nashville? There's not really a Nashville team. And Dallas is kind of the only answer. I mean, I guess Boston is probably closer, but they're owned by the same owner as the Patriots, and I don't like the Patriots. So I was like, no. And I have a friend who lives in Texas. But, so I chose a team based off of that. Like, there's some knowledge, right? When I looked at Heroes of the Storm, I looked at all the teams, and I was like, I guess I'll just watch this on the day maybe that it comes out, and maybe I'll choose a team that, like, there's nothing to go off of. They're just like team blank. There's no city or anything. It's just, so you don't know, like, coming into it, you don't know. Whereas going into anything with region based, you can just be like, oh, I live close to there. I like that city. It gives a good starting point.
Darian, League of Legends has just kind of big tournaments, not a season like this does, right?
No, they have a season.
They
right?
have seasons. They have
Yeah.
like LCS, and they've got the Worlds and stuff. Like LCS is the League Championship Series and Worlds, and I think they have like 2 or 3 very prominent championship series. The most prominent being Worlds, obviously. I don't really pay much attention to esports though, because I don't like watching.
I watched a lot of LCS
games
back in the day. I think LCS, the only real big difference when it comes to like the scheduling, between Overwatch League and LCS is LCS goes for a long time. Like they go through like basically the whole year. I think you get like 2 months off, and then they're like back. I'm like,
it's
Jesus.
like 6 months of LCS, because then there's build up to Worlds, and then between Worlds and the starting of LCS, it's basically like
I think
end of season.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm pretty sure LCS starts in like the early part of the year, and it ends in like October, and they get like November and December off, and then maybe January, and then they go back. Like I think it's longer than 6 months, which Overwatch League is kind of like 5 to 6 months. They're doing like half a year. They start in January. I think the final championship is going to be in like June. So, and
it also varies depending on because there's NA LCS and then there's EU LCS.
Yeah, the scheduling varies, but it's like which is, I like how LCS does it where like they have NA and EU and stuff. So like at the end, they all meet together in the Worlds, and it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've heard once in a while, like coworkers will come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're into video games. Did you hear about that? Like millions of dollars that people playing video games for?" And they're talking about league tournaments.
Well, most of the time they're talking about Dota.
Yeah, Dota has bigger.
Yeah.
Dota
is the one with the big pot, because Dota, for TI, whatever number it is, they do a big thing on the store, like in Dota, and most of the proceeds that you buy like this one thing, most of that goes into the pot. So like the community basically fundraises the final prize pool.
Nice. So yeah, that's the few times I've heard esports breaking into the mainstream where my coworkers and the average people seems to be talking about it, is when there's big money on the line. But I think having location-based teams is kind of gonna be that thing. Will get people talking about like this team is representing my town, my area. So I feel like people like might care about it that way.
The Overwatch League just needs to grow enough to where they can support the travel costs. I feel like the travel costs are going to be way more expensive than opening little arenas in the different areas, because like once you open them, they're there for a while. But like the actual like travel cost of each team going to the different place and all that, like that's going to be a lot. Like once they get to the point where they can support that, I can totally see them like putting the team in that city. Like in maybe like 3 years, I could see them start moving towards that. And that would be crazy cool.
The game that I think will I think like League, Overwatch, Dota, all of these have things that kind of make it complicated, and things like NFL or football can be complicated, but I think it's so ingrained in culture that you kind of learn that stuff because I mean you've got kickers, you've got quarterbacks, you've got all that stuff, and in Overwatch you've got all these classes, all these characters that do different things. I feel like the game that would be easiest to understand that someone could just watch and know what's going on is PUBG. It's like
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
No, yeah, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is very simple to understand. You're going in, you're just trying to survive, be the last one left alive, and you know things like getting the better weapons, getting the equipment, and just like people will be able to understand going into this area would be dangerous. It has very simple logic to it that you would be able to understand. So I feel like anyone could turn that on. There's a friend of mine who had never heard of PUBG. I had her watch a Polygon's Awful Squad stream where they every Tuesday they play Awful Squad, and it's super super funny. But she had never even heard of it, and she was able to pick up what they were doing very quickly. So I feel like in terms of understanding, that would work really well. I feel like the team format is maybe important.
Any sort of battle royale is never going to be like big into esports. They'll do like tournaments, but there's because I mean most of it is based off of like dropping, and you can sometimes get really good loot in a city and sometimes not.
The fact that it's RNG based kind of eliminates it a little bit out of the esports because it's not skill based, it's chance based.
Yeah.
Like you can have skill in it, but if you don't get the right gun, like you're shit out of luck. So I feel like that. I've seen like tournaments and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that'd be kind of interesting to watch, but I don't see it lasting very long. Because even if you're like the best player, like if you don't get the right gun, you're gonna get eliminated. Like,
I don't know. I think the best place for like those kind of games when it comes to viewing is like what's happening on Twitch right now. Like I don't know. I saw somebody playing Fortnite the other day, one of the dudes I regularly follow, and was watching him play, and he got down into like the top 10 and was just like built this giant structure and was like sniping people from the sky and all this, and I was like, and like it got down to him and one other person. The other dude was also in a big structure, and he had a sniper, and they were like trading shots, and I was like, oh shit. Like I was invested. Like I started that when it started, and at that point when the match started, I was kind of like, well, I'm committed. Like let's see who wins, you know, because it's kind of like a whole journey down. It's good to watch. It's good for viewing, but esports wise, I don't know.
Battle Royale seemed to be easy to watch.
Yeah, where I thought you were going with that was Rocket League. I thought you were immediately going to say Rocket League. Because, I mean, absolutely. It's a car. It's soccer. Like, it's car soccer.
Right.
If somebody asks you to explain Rocket League, you can say it's soccer, but with cars. And they're like, oh, okay. Like,
except even easier than that, because there's even less
it's super
rules in
easy
Rocket
to...
League than there is in soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean... That has never really interested me. Like, it almost seems too simple. It doesn't have the tenseness that something like PUBG has, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I think you could easily throw a Rocket League tournament on ESPN2, and even, like, that is going to be the one that some sports fans are going to be like, oh, because, you know, they're used to soccer, and they can see it with these crazy cars. They can see it do a bunch of crazy aerial flips and whatnot, so...
Yeah. Esports is becoming a bigger thing, and it'll be interesting to see what comes of that in the future. But that brings us to the question/comment section. Do you want to be a part of the show? Go to readysetgamecast.com/submit to submit a question, comment, or your favorite esports team. Yeah, that one. Or Rocket League team. I don't know. That's probably
better be Dallas Fuel or Team Solo Mid.
Yuri Gaspar sent in a few questions. He asks, what is your current power level? What's the scaling like on the levels? How many points till you reach your final form on the podcast power level struggle? Teddy, answer that.
He is referring to the end of the podcast when we say grow and become more powerful. But I would say my Destiny character is about 324, probably. Power level 324. The way it scales, you actually infuse your gear. So, but other than that, the podcast, I don't know. It's up to you, Bryce. You and Darian, you guys are the two that flex. I don't flex at the end, so yeah.
Pretty weak.
It's pretty weak, the power level.
I mean, current power level,
over 9,000.
I just reached level 45 in League. That felt pretty nice.
Wait, whoa, hold on, whoa, you're getting somebody who used to play that game catch me off guard. 45?
Yeah, so with the preseason update, they took off the level cap, right? So then, 30 used to be the max level, but now you can basically go infinitely, forever.
That's kind of cool.
I think it's like every 5 levels you get like a big celebration. Like I get a champion capsule, which also updated with like the Blue Essence updates, because it used to be IE and RP, or IP and RP, sorry. The IE or IP being influence points, and the RP being the riot points that you can buy, influence points or points you can get in the game for playing. Now instead of getting points every match, you get Blue Essence by disenchanting champion shards that you get from champion capsules and loot boxes and things like that. But I hit level 45 last night, and I was pretty excited about that because, again, like every 5, it's like a big like milestone sort of. And there's other ones that are bigger milestones. Like I think at level 40, I got like an epic champion capsule or something like that.
That's okay. As somebody who worked for months, like it takes so long to get to level 30. Once you're level 30, you get to do ranked. Like it used to take so fucking long. It took me months to get there, and I'm like, yeah, that's crazy to now hear that you can go past 30.
So yeah, I think 30 is still the level you have to reach to hit ranked.
Yeah.
But last year preseason, I think they was it last year? Somewhere in the middle, actually, I think it was. They reduced the amount of XP you needed to get to level 30 so that people could level faster to get to the ranked game. And now this year, I think they reduced it even more and changed the way that you buy champions, because that was another thing people were having issues with. But once you hit 30, you might still not have enough IP to buy the required amount of champions to play ranked. So they reworked that whole system so that they made it easier for you to hit the cap where you can start playing ranked, and it's easier for you to acquire champions because you get more Blue Essence and you get champion shards so that you can buy champions that way. You don't necessarily have to just buy them with their set price and things like that. So they made it a lot easier for newer players to come in and get more champions and be able to join, where the scene is or whatever. Yeah. Get into the ranked and the competitive play aspect of the game.
Playing Heroes of the Storm recently, again, it brought me back to when I had to get to level 30 to do ranked, because you click the little rank thing. This one's way different because in HOTS you level your character, like your character levels up as you play, and as you play like that character, and their requirement for ranked is you need 14 champions or heroes, whatever you call them in that game. I don't even know.
It's heroes. They're heroes of the storm.
Oh, yep. That makes sense. Makes sense. When you get 14 heroes, each like you need 14 level 5 or above heroes, which is quite a lot. So I was like, I don't know if this is going to be better or worse than getting to level 30 back in the day, but it brought me back. All right, so power level 45. Next question.
And Bryce isn't irrelevant because he doesn't play games like that.
Yeah. Well, I pulled up the podcast stats. I would say our power level, going off Destiny, is 133, because that's the amount of listens we had last week.
That's a lame Destiny power level.
Well, we're not that
exciting.
big yet.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Sure. That's solid.
133 when the last episode was released 2 days ago.
I'm
That's
saying
awesome.
As a Destiny power level. Comparing it to that.
In 2 days? 133 power level in 2 days? I don't know how Destiny works.
That was the listens this week.
Well, 133 in 2 days in D2. probably pretty fine. You know, pretty
Great.
good.
We're
Okay.
awesome.
Okay.
Anyway.
And how does the scaling work, or how do you level up? We can only level up with your help when you rate and review us on Stitcher and iTunes. And
the
final
Google?
form, I don't know. When Blue Apron and MeUndies gives us a call, that's when we reach our final form.
And that's when we quit.
No.
That's what we call it. It's over, dude.
Then we gotta do our weekly raids to whatever people
milestones,
keep
dog.
playing Destiny after they reach max power level.
Yeah, well, we used to have reasons.
That is so.
Real. Oh shit! Why did I put this on the news? The Destiny 2 blog update. I'm not gonna. Destiny 2 put out a blog update. It's really good news, but it might be too little, too late. But I'm gonna play it maybe a little bit more. I'm excited for some of the changes, but a lot of it should have been there day one. All right.
That I was thinking about this. That it's so disappointing that Destiny 2 was what it is, because I think so many people were excited because Destiny 1 became such a thing that everybody loved, and everybody was like, well, I don't want to jump in now because there's so many people so ingrained and you can't really catch up. So everybody was excited to jump in at Destiny 2, and then it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
It was a disappointment. Fun
I don't
fact,
wanna
when
talk
I was
about
looking for Legend of
This
Zelda
makes
Breath
me
of the
sad.
Wild at my local used game shop, I was glancing over, because they didn't have the one that I wanted. So I was glancing over games in the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 4, or not 360, Jesus, Xbox One and the PS4 sections for newer titles that I might like, because I was considering buying Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nice.
But they had Destiny 2, and it was only like $25. So I was like,
Yeah.
should I get this? But then I was like, it's only $25, and it came out a few months ago, so probably not.
If you're hearing if you're Darian, right, hearing all the negativity from me, for example, I always say this: if you are better going into Destiny 2 not having played the first game. If you haven't played the first game for 1,200 hours, you'll play Destiny 2 and be like, I don't see what the problem is. This is pretty fun. this is, what's the issue? But if they made they took a lot of steps backwards and took a good amount of things out that was in Destiny 1 by the end of year 3, where I don't know, Destiny 1 operated a lot more like an MMO than Destiny 2 does. And that's fine for different people. If you want to play it very casually, you'll like Destiny 2 a lot more than you would like Destiny 1. But as somebody who put 1,200 hours in Destiny 1 and wanted Destiny 2 to be more like an MMO, then it's a little disappointing. But if you want to play casually, it's a good story. It's a really good first-person shooter. If you're just looking to shoot some mans, it's solid gameplay.
Yeah. It's I think people consider it some of the best gun shooting
Bungie, man.
in games.
They know how to shoot weapons.
Okay, Yuri asks us another question. Oh, what are your favorite comics, characters, series?
Series.
Series.
What a final comics, characters, series overall. That last one's so broad. Yuri.
Darian.
I don't read comics per se.
Okay,
But
hers is
does
Sex
manga
Criminals.
count?
I think so. I think you'd probably include manga.
Because I've got like 30 different series on here
Jesus.
of manga.
She's showing off her bookshelf for the people. With
I
the
built
ears.
that bookshelf myself, by the way, for my manga collection. But I have a series that I read that was coming out when I was in middle and high school that kind of got more mature as I got more mature. So I feel like it helped me, I guess, deal with stuff because it was mature themes and there was some serious stuff going on, and it just ended 2 years ago. It's called Blackbird. And it's a romantic story, whatever, very cheesy.
Gross.
But I read a lot of
Cooties.
shoujo beat stuff because teenage girl reading about romantic stories that'll never happen to you, blah blah blah, whatever. But this one was kind of a little bit serious in the themes that it covered, and I liked it a lot. It's very fantasy based. It's about demons. It's mostly based off of a specific clan of demons, I guess, and I think they're called either Tenju or Tengu. I'm not sure. But they're like bird demons. That's my favorite series. I would say there's like 18 volumes. I can't think of any of the character names because I haven't opened any of the books.
I'm gonna have a nightmare
since it
about
ended,
bird demons tonight.
No, they're really cool. They're like humans with pretty black bird wings. It's really cool. It's not like scary. Like
I imagined more of a Ryuk feel going on when you said bird demons.
I guess. No, they're like. I mean.
All right.
Like the first. Oh, that's not a good cover. Hold on.
The audio listeners, she's rolling back to her bookshelf and getting an example here.
Okay, while she's doing that, I'm going to talk about mine. Saga. Just the Saga is the one series that I always make sure, and as soon as I can, I get the newest issue. And then once a new trade comes out with the collection, I buy the trade on top of that because I love being able to lend it out to friends. I love all the characters. I love the story. So yeah, Saga is my favorite series and comic and whatever. In terms of comics, or in terms of characters, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's always cool. He's funny and has a lot of heart and all of that.
There's not a good cover picture.
Rip. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's it. Teddy, go ahead.
Okay, favorite comics. I'll just say my favorite comic book story arc is Batman New 52. Batman, I believe it's technically Volume 1 and Volume 2 are both the Court of Owls storyline. Fucking the Court of Owls storyline, Scott Snyder is so good. It's so good, man. Definitely read that. If you haven't read too many comics, just buy Batman New 52 Volume 1, Volume 2. They're both really, really good. He said characters. I'm just going to say favorite comic book character. I like Nightwing a lot. I like Shazam. Those are two of my favorite superheroes in DC Comics. Let's see. And then series, I'm just not going to answer that. I guess, you know what? I'll interpret that. Favorite, ongoing series. I still need to catch up on The Walking Dead. I'm only 3 volumes behind. I'm very close to being caught up with that. So,
the Cable and Deadpool series is very good. That was from the late 90s or something. That was very good. Cable was a good grounding for Deadpool. That I feel like Deadpool is not that great by himself because he can be too crazy, but if he's paired with somebody who's more grounded, that kind of keeps him in check, you get more interesting stories out of him. The things Deadpool does, any sane person would be hey, you are you're a danger to people, you need to be in check. So the fact that they put someone super serious actually tied to Deadpool, their bodies were linked because of an issue, was very cool. And I'm trying to think of any other series. Uncanny X-Men. I'm pretty sure that was it. Where no, it's X-Force, but it was basically it was Wolverine, Archangel, who was the chick wears purple in the recent X-Men movies?
Where's purple?
It was Olivia Munn.
Oh man, I don't know her character's name. Oh, Psylocke.
Yeah,
nailed it.
It was her and Deadpool. There might have been somebody else. But they were basically they were the Black Ops team that killed people. They were the X-Men cannot be associated with killing people. So we're going to go deal with issues that we can't just knock them out. We can't put them in prison. These people need to die. And it was probably some of the best storytelling. It was very dark, but had some very good jokes. Deadpool's jokes in there were so good. So those are some older series that were very, very good.
I wish I could read comics, but the first graphic novel I picked up was a manga, and it got me into that reading right to left. format instead of left to right. So now I struggle reading regular comic books. That, and there's so many more thousands of regular comic books that are available to me than a manga series, that it's a lot easier for me to go through and read like, okay, well, this is something I would like, as opposed to like, where do I even start with some of these comic series? Like, I wanted to read Harley Quinn's series because I'm stupid and love the shit out of everything Harley Quinn, but I couldn't figure out like where her origin story started. And so like I was trying to figure out like, okay, well, was she in Batman comics? Do I need to get that? Or like, should I try to find a Suicide Squad or like
Animated.
Harley Quinn's
She first appeared in the Batman the Animated
she was
series.
in like the old Batman animated series, but I wanted to read the comics.
Yeah.
So it's rough
I totally
getting
sympathize
into
with
comics.
that. Yeah, for the longest time I didn't buy comics because it was just like that. I was just like, I don't know where to start. But then I think like a year before, like when I was really thinking about that, you know, like they like a year after I really said I want to get into comics, they did the New 52, and I was like, ooh, I could do this. I then of course didn't get any as soon as it started, but I got some as soon as like volume 1 and volume 2 were out of like a bunch of them. I read some of those, and sometimes you just have to, like, my advice for that is just to Google like a character that you know and find like the best story arc of like that character. Like I did that with Batman, and a lot of people were like, volume 1 and volume 2 of New 52 is really good, and I got that one and I was like, all right. Like there are a lot of really self-contained like arcs in certain like trades, so yeah, it's a lot of research, sadly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of work, and I'm totally okay with just like watching all the new Marvel movies. I'm totally cool with just going in, not having any idea, so that I can't be disappointed.
Other than video games, comics are probably like the second most expensive like nerd hobby. It's very expensive.
I disagree. I think board games are up there if you're like,
if you're
buying
into
new board
like
games
all
and-
board games, yeah, if you just like want to get a bunch of new ones, yeah, but like if you go and say you want half of like the current ongoing DC comics, right? Of like that come out each week, you're gonna like go to the comic book store every Wednesday and just be like, here's $200. It's like,
oh my god.
yeah, it's very expensive. If you want it like each week of like one series, it's like $4 for that, right? And then if you just add on like 3 or 4, you're past like $10. It was like, geez, man.
Yeah, I'll go to a comic shop maybe once every 2 months. I'll end up dropping like $40. Just
That's
like
crazy
picking up
to
stuff.
me.
I got into comics because I would I got into comics because me and a couple of friends would go to see the nerdy movies together, and there was a comic book store right next to the theater. There was a burger place, so we'd go get burgers, and we'd go get comics, and then we'd go see the movie. But we would always go in and just buy like 1 or 2 trades. Like we would just look, and it was like, all right, here is Nightwing. Do they have a volume 1? They have a volume 1. All right. And I would just buy the volume 1. It was like $15 for the trade. And then I would read that. And then I would be like, okay, later I would get the next volume. I would never really get caught up. But it was just like spur of the moment. Sure, I'll grab another one. You know? So it was kind of a slow burn type thing. And I still don't read any ongoing comics like at all. That's why I got this guy for Christmas. That's why I got this Kindle for Christmas. Because digital comics are really easy. They're really convenient. So
Right.
I want to just get one series that comes out like each Wednesday and read that each week, but I haven't done that yet.
Teddy, I want you to close your eyes for me. I want you to.
You're right to be uncomfortable.
I want you to picture yourself in the trunk of a car. You are trapped in the trunk of a car.
Okay. Not close my eyes, but I can still picture this.
And you have access to 3 items. You have food, shelter, and all of that in the trunk of this car. What are the 3 items that you would want to keep you sane and survive?
For how long am I stuck in this trunk?
You don't know. You ended up in the trunk of a car, and you gotta.
Can I not get out? Can I not choose like a hammer or like you know?
No. They keep moving. If you ever try and get out, the car will be moving
You'll
too
probably
fast.
die.
Yeah.
Okay, well, other than trying to escape, he said I have water and food.
Yeah, you have all the
right,
basics.
well-
No needs. So
Do
what's
can I somehow get internet in the trunk?
sure?
Okay, if I can get internet in the trunk, I will choose a laptop where I can play World of Warcraft. so just fucking, because that's eternal. You know, I don't go on forever. I'll choose a Switch. And probably a pillow. That would be useful.
Ooh, smart.
Okay, Darian, close your eyes.
Oh my god, no! Just what's the answer? 3 items.
Yeah, that's your items. That's it. Darian, you are on
I
an
got a different scenario.
Is there? Interesting.
Darian, you are an exotic beach with the sun shining and
I
just
thought you were gonna say, Darian, you're an exotic dancer, and I'm like,
you're an
okay.
exotic dancer. You need 3 things. You're an exotic beach, beautiful weather, and just the sun shining. And also, there's one of those like chairs that you lay on. That's already there for you. But on top of that, what's 3 things that you would need/want while you are stuck on this beautiful island?
Does this include sunscreen or not? Because let me tell you guys, I am paper white, and I burn insanely easy. So, like, do I have to ask for sunscreen?
No,
or
weirdly enough, this island is just the perfect amount of shade. It's just very picturesque.
I can't stress this enough. If I were to go outside right now, maybe not right now, it's dark out right now, so I think I'd be okay because it's dark in wintertime. If I went out tomorrow, it's gonna be like -4 degrees where I'm at, but it's gonna be sunny, and I would probably still get a sunburn. So,
Okay, fine.
if
you
it's
want,
exotic,
if you want to include sunscreen as one of your things,
no, I don't want to. Is the
okay,
thing.
well
I don't
you'll be
wanna have
fine.
to
You won't
include
get a sunburn at this place.
I mean, I would also want to take my Switch, because I do have Stardew Valley on there.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
that's
that
a good
would keep me
point.
satisfied for a while.
Oh yeah.
So my Switch, and do I have cell service?
Yeah, sure.
My phone as well.
I just realized that my answers were terrible because I didn't bring any of the chargers, and
'Cause-
there's no way to charge them.
The
So they're just
question
gonna
says
die.
just my Switch and the cord and a generator to plug it into.
yeah.
That's
I take
it.
back the pillow and I put a generator in the trunk.
Somehow.
the question says being able to access. So I assume like being able to access includes the internet. Like you can access the internet.
Yeah, probably. Interesting.
So yeah, what's your items? Is the Switch?
Switch, the phone, and I don't
Laptop? Computer?
I don't have a laptop. If I needed, if my whole computer
Yeah,
was
let's say
just
your
one
whole computer.
setup,
Damn.
Yeah.
all right,
That's
Okay.
fucking
that.
impressive.
There we go.
Hell yeah.
That's a big package you just took there to the island.
Yeah, I like my computer, like just the tower itself is like 30 pounds. So, yeah, bring
Okay.
that.
I'm gonna say internet. I feel like that should be listed separately.
What?
Internet.
I asked if there was internet mine. You said sure.
Well, I thought it meant like, is there access to? Like you can
Oh.
get that would be one of your items.
What?
Well, you didn't say that. I was
Okay,
like,
well,
is there internet in the trunk? And you were like, yeah. Then I named 3 items.
Okay,
My
fine.
house
Well,
is
I'm
internet.
saying I'm saying internet wherever I'm
Alright.
trapped at. I'll say my Switch and my PC. I was gonna think maybe PS4, but I feel like Switch is like it's portable. It's more fun. I've used my Switch more than I've used my PS4 lately.
Oh, lately,
If
I was
if
gonna
I
say.
had a monitor with me, I would absolutely do PS4 instead. But I figured I didn't. So
Darian, can you read the last question for the?
Yes, this says it's from The Real Teddy.
Oh.
And it says, please help. Someone has replaced me with a lookalike on the show. I don't know where I am, but if you see me, be suspicious. I mean, what's your favorite cereal?
Reese's Puffs, peanut butter chocolate flavor.
Teddy's
Okay.
completely, whatever.
I mean, like, that's all I heard was what's your favorite cereal. I didn't even hear anything else. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
So about that trunk.
Yeah.
I like. Oh, what's the cinnamon one? Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That was
The taste you can see.
good. What about you, Darian?
I eat a lot of cereal.
Yeah. Cereal's the jam, dude.
Fruity Pebbles.
Real talk. Somebody said their favorite cereal was Fruity Pebbles like a year ago, and I was like, you know, I haven't had Fruity Pebbles in a long time. I'm gonna get them. I got them. They tasted really bad. I don't know why.
So Fruity Pebbles from 10 years ago, because they changed something about the recipe, and they added like the blue pebble, and the whole thing tastes completely different.
Man,
than
that
it
blue
used to.
pebble, dude, it fucked everything up. It's upsetting.
Totally did. But
yeah,
I don't know. Fruity Pebbles is still really good. I go back to it every once in a while. Like, I'll get it as a guilty pleasure. Like, I'm gonna eat some Fruity Pebbles because they don't last very long if you eat them regularly. Like that box, gone in an instant. Like,
You fit a lot of those.
I eat a lot of cereal too, so
yeah, you can fit a lot of
understand.
Fruity Pebbles into one bowl. So
depends on how big the
there's
bowl
probably
is. You
like
gotta get
4
like a
bowls
giant
total.
popcorn bowl and just fill it with cereal.
See, and I don't like to do that because I don't
No.
like when my cereal is soggy. So I'll eat multiple smaller bowls so that
I
it's
mean,
so crunchy when I'm done.
Real talk, if I did it in the size I was talking about, the spoon would just fall in because it would be so big.
My mom, when I first moved out on my own, my mom got me this big Durex, or you know that glass that won't break if you heat it up, like bowl that's like that big. It's decent size, and I've ate everything out of it since I got it. I don't use any other bowls than that. It's a big
That's
bowl.
awesome. I do have a designated macaroni and cheese bowl.
I definitely have a designated cereal bowl, so I understand.
Yeah, this is like I have to constantly wash this bowl because it's the only bowl I use. So at least I don't make too many dishes.
I have like 2 of the same size, these 2 plastic bowls that I use for cereal.
So that brings us to the end of episode 10.
Oh man.
Time to get to the housekeeping. Go to ReadySetGamecast.com for links to the podcast on all your favorite podcast services, including iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, as well as the video version on youtube.com/lastgeek. Also, if you like the show, please rate or subscribe, rate, and review it on iTunes and Stitcher. It helps us grow and become more powerful.
My finger is flexing this time.
Progress.
Yeah.
I will say I went on Stitcher today and found out that you can review a podcast without creating an account or anything. You just kind of click review it, and it asks you your email, and then they'll just send you an email, and you click, yeah, I did post this review, so you don't need to create an account. It's super simple. iTunes, I think you have to have an iTunes account to do that. But
do you want to plug any of your upcoming podcasts before we wrap up?
They are still being worked on. Test episodes, album art is being created, so that stuff's coming. But as soon as episodes are released, this podcast will hear all about it. Where can people find you, Darian?
Twitch.tv/dexterity, Twitter.com/dexterity, Facebook.com/dexterity. YouTube, you have to search it. I don't have
MySpace.
I don't have enough followers.
Dexterity.com.
Dexterity. That's me.
Teddy Chinaris.
You can find me exactly there at twitch.tv/Teddy Chinaris and twitter.com/Teddy Chinaris. And also you can search on YouTube. But Twitch, I've been really relaxed on my schedule since the beginning of the new year, and it's been fucking great. But yeah, keep an eye on my Discord for when I go live, but check out most weeknights around 6 to 10 Central. I'm trying. Here's my one problem with Heroes of the Storm. Been having a lot of fun with it, but I can't stream it for shit. Like, my OBS just doesn't like it. It's not even like the FPS in game. Like, the game's fine, but the FPS on the other monitor while I play is like totally screwed up when I like open OBS. It's very annoying, and I need help. So I'll be streaming other games, probably some Fortnite and stuff like that recently. So the HMU hit me up, kids.
Okay. Lastgeek.com. Lastgeek on Twitter. You can hear me being all positive about my friends and telling them how cool they are. Instagram, Last Geek Plays, where you'll probably see clips from the show. Probably on Twitter too. Sometimes when I'm editing, I'll be like, "Oh, somebody said something funny in the pre-show," and I'll put that up. YouTube.com/lastgeek. Basically, all the links should be on lastgeek.com, so just go there. So that is the end of episode 10. Thank you for joining us once again, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.